fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the twilight zone.
An illusion will be created so vast, so large that it escapes their perception. Those who see it will be thought of as insane. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the absolute. We will work together always, and we will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep their lifespans short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators and sedatives in food and water, also in the air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. For all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. They will see our products being used in films, and will grow accustomed to them, and will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them that it's for their health. We will start early on, when their minds are young. We will target their children with what children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their minds and steal their future. When their ability to learn has been affected, we will create medicines that will make them sicker and cause other diseases for which we will create yet more medicine. We will render them docile and weak, so they succumb to us and our power. They will grow depressed, slow and obese. And when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus their attention towards money and material goods, so that they may never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and games, so that they may never be one with the oneness of all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we shall find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governments and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. We will always hide our objective, but carry out our plan. They will perform the labor for us, and we shall prosper from their toil. Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must be pure, always, for it is the way. We will keep them separated from the oneness by dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives. We will make them kill each other when it suits us, and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and gently, letting them think they are guiding themselves. We will incite animosity between them through our factions. When a light shall shine among them, we shall extinguish it by ridicule or death, whichever suits us best. We will make them rip each other's hearts out and kill their own children. We will accomplish this by using hate as our ally, anger as our friend.
From 6 billion to 800 million by the year 2030. This meant finding a method or methods to wipe out nearly 95%.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law.
Understand, they are safe as long as they are not
the
discovered.
conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
Intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness.
An order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedate.
Okay, enough. Don't listen to this guy. Everything's conspiracies with him.
Not conspiracies. Conspiracy. Singular. Reaching back to ancient Egypt, there's been a single cabal of powerful individuals directing the course of human history. But the common man prefers to believe they don't exist, which aids their success.
Global warming, military upheavals in the Third World, Actors elected to public office?
The spread of coffee bars, germs outpacing antibiotics, and boy bands? Come on, who would gain from all this?
Who indeed?
Oh, hey again. So you know when you like share stuff online and then you inevitably get comments of people calling you a crazy conspiracy theorist and it's not possible that the government could do such a thing? And sometimes just in my leisure reading, I like to read U.S. patents, don't you? So if you just go to the deep state machine that we call Google, just look up U.S. patent number 6470214. Oh, what do you know? Directed energy weapon, targeted individual patents from the year 2000, pulsative manipulation of central nervous system. Published in 2002, method and device for producing a desired brain state via magnetic waves. And this fun one from 2013 has 4 different assignees, controls brain state by placing engineered EMF patterns into the AC wiring of a building. And from 2014, induced desired brain state in person by adding waves into a music file. And from the year 2000, induces desired emotional state through an EMF, sleeplessness, sexual arousal. 2015, monitors vital signs of subject via remote application of radar waves, handheld. And then here's one from 2002. Remotely transmit intelligible subjective sound into targeted consciousness. Voice to skull. Oh, and who's the original assignee? The United States Air Force. And so, would the U.S. deep state government use such patents on its people? No.
Peter. Okay, I'm fighting to... Come over there, please. Go with it. With it. Come on. There you go.
Oh, straight away.
There you go. Let's hear one, Peter.
Okay, so which one? No, but which one did you take? Which one was the Bodena or?
Which one did you take?
Which one did you take?
Oxford.
The Oxford one.
Right, there you go.
Wow.
That's Peter's one.
What number was it? Right, take a picture.
Okay,
now,
what
you do is tomorrow bring you a piece of paper that's got that same.
You never got a piece of paper. No, this is something. This is personal for them.
Yeah, but
for the human.
Where's Everton got here?
When we first go there,
no, mate.
you ask a question.
Yo, Peter, you now officially got the mark of the beast.
It looks like it. I just need a number.
Take your number. Take your number.
Got it?
Looks like
Oh
it.
shit. Okay. So, hey, listen, that shit work for real, man. What the fuck? Listen, my people in the group gonna have to love this, man. Shit. Hey, guys. Catch you later, yeah? Yeah, I will. I will send it. Okay, guys, later. Yeah, man. I know. Listen. I know.
Okay.
Alright, we've got the QR and barcode scanner. Oh look, just picked it up. Look.
There it is. That's fucked.
It is, eh?
Mate.
Fully fucked.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, we're gonna hear more.
Oh my god!
No, scanner.
There's the evidence, boys.
Oh my god!
So you know, your number 1931-3734. That's what product you are now.
I just scanned his arm and he has the chip.
I don't know.
That's freaky.
Walmart scan.
I was not feeling so good on Thursday. I had to take the day off.
Does it hurt? Like, what is that really what they say it is? Like on TikTok?
Yeah, it's not. It didn't hurt, but I got a fever and chills and stuff like that. I wasn't feeling too good.
No way.
Yeah. and a little bit sore, but now it's good. Now it's good. It's last week. The only problem is that everywhere I go, everything is trying to connect to me, man. Like Bluetooth connectivity.
What do you mean?
I got Bluetooth connectivity. I get in the car, my car is trying to connect to me. I go home, or my computer is trying to connect. Like my phone is trying to connect. Like everything all the time.
How do you know they're trying to connect to you? Like
because I keep getting this bloody notification. Check this out. Everywhere I go, I keep getting this notification all the time. It's nuts.
With AstraZeneca? What the fuck?
yeah. So I keep saying cancel. No.
And what happens if you connect to it?
I don't know, man. I didn't try it. I'm scared.
Hey, everyone is asking how you're doing.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's not me that they're asking about. It's you. Are you feeling okay? What about the connectivity? How's that
The
work?
connectivity is still there, man. I don't know how to turn it off.
Yeah?
Yeah. Check this out. See that TV over there?
Yeah?
Okay, if I walk up to it, it's gonna try and connect to me. Watch this.
That's a cow, man. Let me see.
There it is. What? Yeah. Everywhere I get the same message.
Is it just this TV?
Nope. I walk away, goes away.
Oh my god. And you don't feel any vibrations in your body? Nothing?
Nothing. All good.
Charter City is stunned by the sudden rollout of Rook Unlimited's most fantastic device ever. The Smart Mark. Throw your other devices away, because the Smart Mark is more than just a phone. It's part of you. Use it as cash. Book your travel. And even shoot video. Distribution points are all over the city. And don't let the lines discourage you. The Rook Unlimited Smart Mark is worth the wait.
I never realized how wonderful technology could make me feel. The Smart Mark has brought order to my life.
And the best part? It's absolutely free. A gift of thanks to our city from Rook Unlimited.
23% of the population has been given the Smart Mark, number 1.
Time to test our system, number 6. The Flex Fighters are out there somewhere. Teaming up with Jonathan Rook. Let's put our new recruits to work. Subtly.
We should find the Flex Fighters.
I ought to find the Flex Fighters.
We should find the Flex Fighters. We should find the Flex Fighters.
Growing up in this city, the streets of Old Town, I saw the worst mankind had to offer. Chaos, disorder. I vowed to make it all change. To make it all better. All these years working in secret. Rising up the ranks of the tech men. It was all leading to this day. Order has finally been established in Charter City. No child will have to fear for their safety again.
The people owe you the greatest of debts, number 1, for liberating them from the chaos of their lives.
You guys love new tech. You didn't want to get smart marked?
No way. That's clearly some shady biz. Who wants to be...
You call yourself a man of science. World order is our destiny. Submit to a Smart Mark and join the glorious victory of order over chaos, or you will be eliminated.
Grandpa, Mr. Savick, where is everybody?
They all went to get those foolish new devices.
What? No, they can't. Grandpa, those things are dangerous. It's a conspiracy. Mind control.
I knew it!
3 hours is enough time for us to get to our families. Maybe we can stop them before they get marked.
They seem to be establishing checkpoints of some kind. This is how they keep order.
This is the nightmare I warned you about. People think smart marks are brand new Rook tech that will improve their lives. They don't know they're being tricked.
All smart marks so far. But your chip makes it possible to control everyone in Charter City, whether they're marked or not.
Cheryl, it's not a race.
That's what losers say.
What is that?
The truth.
Every time a
new baby is born, the Federal Reserve issues a secret birth certificate printed by a company called the American Bank. That way, the government can use people as currency to back the debt they have with the World Economic Forum, which owns the central banks of every nation on Earth. But the WEF is just a front for the Council on Foreign Relations, which masterminded the 9/11 attacks as a pretext to invade Iraq, take the oil, and install fast food chains to make people slow, fat, and easily abductable by the shape-shifting reptilian aliens it works with. Now, back in the 30s, FDR made a deal with these reptilians to exchange people for technology. That was the basis of the New Deal. But ever since, they've been slowly replacing all the world leaders to create a nuclear holocaust to make global warming real for their takeover. That's how they made up the Cold War, by sending Leica to space to bite Neil Armstrong while Kubrick was faking the moon landing. Now they're using satellite waves, contrails, and measles vaccines as mind control, and fluoridating the water to keep people's gold fillings intact so they can be sent back to, you guessed it, the Federal Reserve, where all the gold and birth certificates are stored by the real puppet master, the world monarch, who is himself only the servant of the all-seeing eye who controls everything in the world.
Say what? After the T-virus was released, a secret file was uploaded to my data stream. It was a recording of a meeting of the Umbrella High Command, dated 17 months before the viral outbreak occurred.
We're here today, not just to talk about the future of this company. We're here to talk about its destiny. We're here to talk about the end of the world. We stand on the brink of Armageddon, diseases for which we have no cure. Fundamentalist states who call for our destruction, nuclear powers over which we have no control. And even if we navigate these dangerous waters, we face other, even more inevitable threats. Global warming will melt the polar ice caps within 80 years, flooding 90% of all habitable areas on Earth. Unchecked population growth will overtake food production in less than 50 years, leading to famine and war. This is not conjecture. This is fact. One way or another, our world is coming to an end. Now the question is, will we end with it?
What do you propose?
I propose that we end the world, but on our terms. An orchestrated apocalypse. One that will cleanse the Earth of its population but leave its infrastructure and resources intact. It's been done once before, with great success. The chosen few will ride out the storm, not in an ark as in the book of Genesis, but in safety, underground. And when it's over, we will emerge onto a cleansed Earth, one that we can then reboot in our image.
And just how do you intend to achieve this?
The means of our salvation are already at hand. I give to you the T-virus.
Dr. Isaacs allowed the virus to escape. He murdered over 7 billion people. In 37 minutes, the last of the human settlements will fall. There will be no survivors.
Okay, what's up, guys? What's going on? Man, bright and early. So I thought this video was important, man. I started to put this in together with the current video I was working on, but just coming across this information, I thought it was vital. And a couple of reasons why. Y'all remember the Omicron? Okay, remember there was a variant, right? Okay, it also correlated with a movie. All right, I might play a piece of that in here.
The Omicron variant is dominating the headlines right now, and in tonight's Fact or Fiction, we're looking into claims an Omicron movie was made all the way back in the 1960s. And it's true, but not at all significant. In 1963, an Italian film called Omicron was released. It was a satirical sci-fi movie about an alien who takes over the body of an Earthman. As for the name, Omicron is simply the 15th letter of the Greek alphabet, and it's been used in many film and literary titles. Now, there is also another movie poster that's being sent around showing a film called the Omicron variant, but that one is a fake. The image is just a doctored version of this real poster of a 1974 movie that translates into English as Events in Phase 4. We'll be right back.
Today, we are announcing B11529 as a variant of concern named Omicron.
People of Earth, I am Lur of the planet Omicron Persei 8. Is this thing on?
Dear Lord, they're back!
We're doomed!
The situation is expected to deteriorate as newscasters whip the city into a panic. Run! Run for your lives! Transmission over! Well, that went okay. I tell you, when you know you can't scratch, that's when you really have to, huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, that feels a lot better. What? It's still on? Oh!
Normalissima, direi. No, è solamente morte naturale e nient'altro, signore.
Caro giudice, io devo contraddirla. Vedrà dopo.
Va bene.
185.
D'altra parte, commissario, non discutiamo. Noi siamo venuti qui per renderci conto. E purtroppo è il nostro mestiere, no?
Ancora?
Va bene.
Vediamoci se ho voglia di discutere.
Rigidità cadaverica presente, generalizzata, particolarmente accentuata. Forza in ferro. Perdendo sugo.
Come va il nostro malato? È sveglio? Ha pianto di nuovo. Ma cosa sono queste crisi di malinconia? Su! Coraggio, che adesso facciamo per la prima volta una bella passeggiatina e proviamo a fare da soli la pipì. E il professore sarà contento. Si regge. Avanti, vieni.
Ma vicino, siete no?
Aiuto! Dio, che guaio!
Saletto stile, saghe di aperto.
Lo tenga.
So, ja, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2,
But if you didn't know, the gist of that whole movie was about an alien being taking over somebody's mind, being inside of them. Okay? If you watch a lot of these movies, talk about aliens and stuff like that, you start talking about mind control, mind manipulation, being able to inhabit vessels, being able to inhabit people, being able to body snatch. Okay, if you remember, I had Dr. Be Serious on, where he was talking about a certain, I don't know if it was like 1600s or something, talking about parasitic mind control being implemented on people back then at that time. Some kind of ship or something came over, and I don't know if it was something, they dropped a bunch of parasites or something of that nature. I might try to find that piece, man. That just caused me to do a lot more digging, because I got the information, man. I always go across it, and then I put it away, store it, and come back to it. But there's a significance to that. Now, the reason I brought this up, man, is because, remember what I always tell you guys, just because you found out something today didn't mean it just started today. Okay, just because we understand we on a journey today don't mean the stuff started today. This is just when we stumbling across a process that's been occurring. Okay, so we talk about how they was injecting people with this parasite, you know, with the walk. We understand that. Okay, if you don't understand that part now, guys, I might show you a little piece about that. I don't know, I try to float under the radar, but it's significant because I told y'all, man, it was about, okay, now Phil Snyder said this was about DEPOP and enslavement. Okay, enslavement, and this was gonna come from those beings. Okay, those beings were gonna do this. Okay, they were gonna do DEPOP, and then they were gonna use enslavement on the rest. Okay, in what form? Like I keep telling y'all, man, some people expect enslavement to come in the form of whips and chains and carrying stuff and doing all this crap. Y'all got it misconstrued. That's not what enslavement is. That's not what it's gonna look like. Enslavement's gonna come here. It's gonna come here in the mind. Now I showed y'all videos where parasites was linked to suicide and depression. I showed y'all videos. I showed y'all plenty of information as it related to that, and also the parasite Gandhi and all that, and how that affects you, and how it comes from cats, and cats carry it around, and they only these particular parasites only mate in the gut of cats and stuff, but then they spread into people and they're able to control them and stuff. Guys, I know, and you know my saying, I know this sounds like a sci-fi movie, but guess what? It's not. This is all reality. As crazy as it sounds. Now, interesting enough, like I tell y'all, man, just because we found out something today don't mean it started today. Okay? Doesn't mean it started today. And what I'm coming to find out, coming to understand, man, like I told y'all know how we couldn't talk to nobody, we couldn't get across to nobody and stuff like that, right? We know, I told y'all, when people took the pop quiz, man, a lot of those people became controlled. They started following orders, doing whatever they was told to do. You understand? Like, they was easily manipulated at that point. So hear me out. Guys, I believe, based off of my research and what I've been stumbling across, and I'm gonna play this piece from this doctor, man. He puts things in real perspective for us to understand. See, y'all gotta understand, for me, I'm just a researcher. You know, I just dig into stuff just like y'all. Okay, obviously I started the detox shop and everything because I saw there was a significant need for real healing and real a more real holistic approach, because I knew that both sides of this was being manipulated. For one, they were hiding the fact that parasites was involved in this. Okay, they were hiding the fact that parasites were involved in this, and on top of that, they weren't giving us real medicines to address it. Okay, so they hid it so you wouldn't know what it was. That way you couldn't address it, and then when you go to address it, they giving you stuff that don't have nothing to do with that. Alright, so people walking around still sick and they can't get healthy, and then these parasites still tearing away at their internal organs, at their brain, eating away. Like, God, some of y'all did not know until I brought that information to you that parasites is going in people's brains and eating their brains. That's how people come down with dementia, Alzheimer's, and all that. Then you're like, okay, well, how they get there? Well, I'm telling y'all too, they putting eggs in people. Them things is causing them things to go. Once they hatch, they go over time, they travel up through your body some kind of way, and they get to your brain. All right, and then by the time you 60, 70 something, you don't know what happened to you. Your brain is deteriorating. Okay, and then when they perform these autopsies, so they see these lesions and stuff, and they just associate, oh, that's just dementia. Okay, well, how did it get there? That's what I'm telling you. But let me get to the point, man. So this doctor kind of pointed it out, and it goes back and it goes in hand with what I was telling y'all before about the parasites causing people to have depression, people hearing voices, okay, people commit suicide, all linked to parasites. Okay, now whether it's the same parasites that's up there eating your brain, I don't know. Okay, but what he's saying is that these parasites have power that we have no idea. Like, they're more powerful than we even could imagine or even have thought of.
To have that, your body, when it starts to detoxify, it starts to feel nauseated, it starts to, get sick, maybe sitting on the toilet a long time, headache, okay, these types of physical symptoms. But you'll have mental symptoms, and those, remember, observe, those are your parasites. It's very important to understand this. The parasites control our minds, okay? They control a lot of our feelings. Our body complains a lot, and that's usually because it's becoming toxic, or because what lives inside us, which are the parasites besides us, they also control the areas that they live in, okay? Remember, when you fast, what you're going to do is you're going to start cutting off supply of fuel to creatures that live in the body. All creatures, everything, even you. So your body's smart enough to be able to feed upon itself, but the creatures inside, they're not going to get fed anymore, okay? At least for a short period of time. And you're going to feel their schism. Okay, you're going to feel depressed, you're going to feel hollow, you're going to feel empty, you're going to feel frustrated, maybe disappointed, or little problems may turn into big problems. Okay, why? It's because the energy fields that are in your body with you, the parasites, if they're not getting fed, then you are feeling their frustration. You need to know that. Okay, don't cave in. Breaking the spell of the parasites that control many of our thoughts, feelings, actions, desires. This is the best way and the only way I have found to be able to disconnect the parasite mind control, okay, that everybody has. And as good as these parasites are, remember, you will never know that this is happening to you. Until you disconnect yourself from these layers of control, you will never know that you are under control. Okay? You will never know that. Ever. It's a seamless system, meaning that you'll never be able to feel it. It's invisible. Once you disconnect and go through the disillusion, okay, the breakdown of the connection that the parasite has on us, you, me, everybody, is dependent on their connection of the fuel that they need to be able to keep their energy fields to a certain layer, and to keep your energy field at a certain layer.
It's become apparent to me, man, it's a war being fought. It's a war being fought for our minds, our bodies, and our souls, for our spirit, man. But there is a war being fought, being waged within all of us, man. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a war being waged within all of us, inside our bodies. And this doctor gave me a better insight on it, man. When we doing this detoxing, when you utilizing these different products and stuff to attack these different organisms that's in your body, man, you are waging a counter-offensive. You are actually waging attack. You disrupting their habitat, but you are going to war with them. Okay, you dropping bombs on them. You shooting them up. You exploding shit. You damaging them. You severely damaging their whole operation. And that's what we have to do, man, in order to get control back of our minds, our bodies, our spirits. Like, you have to go to war within and get rid of all of these different parasites and mechanisms of control that has been placed in us, that have migrated into us over the course of our lifetime, that has grown, that has manifested, that's really just taken over, man. Like, you gotta address these things, man. And it literally, detoxing is basically waging war against these organisms that's inside of us, blowing shit up. Like I said, go in, attack, get the hell out of there type shit. You understand what I'm saying? Otherwise, man, you in a war, you either winning or you losing. And for most of us, for our whole lifetime, man, we've been losing. And we don't know what winning look like. We don't know what we supposed to feel like. We don't know how we supposed to move. We don't know how we supposed to operate. Some of you dealing with different things in your lifetime that is as a direct result of parasitic infection, parasitic mind control.
Get that concept in your head one more time. It's real simple. Remember, full moon is, remember, when all the crazies come out. If you worked in the emergency hospital, if you worked at the fire department, you'll notice that full moon comes around. Nobody wants to work that shift because it's going to be a full pack shift. I know, I used to work in the emergency hospital for several years. So the full moon makes all the undesirables, the bullies inside your body have the power that now they have over you. They live in dysfunction, they live in doubt, they live in sin, they live in adventure, in all different adrenaline, okay? This is the system. It feeds at this time when the full moon is out. It is true. Your whole power is to be able to disconnect your parasites that live inside you slowly, just like they went ahead and actually creeped up inside you. Learn the protocols, okay, a little bit at a time. Learn the skin cleaning protocols. Why? Because you want to get off billions of passengers off your skin. You'll be able to pass toxicity through your skin. You'll be able to put the correct lubricants and protectants on your skin. And you'll start to move around the lymph, and your body will start to actually be more conductive. More conductivity means that you'll feel better. Disconnect yourself from whatever lives inside yourself so you can get your life back. What a concept.
Parasites controlling your sexual habits, whether it be sexual deviance, masturbation, sexual dysfunction, whatever. These things are all linked to parasitic infections. Okay, even sexual transmitted diseases and stuff, parasitic infections, skin disorders, skin diseases. See what I'm saying? You talking about stuff on the exterior that you can see. I told y'all, the interior stuff you can't see what they doing, but that you imagine you see psoriasis and you see eczema and stuff on your skin. What you think your organs look like when that stuff is on? So I said, what do you think your scalp look like when you got these things on your scalp? Or what these things look like on your brain, in your brain. Talking about, they say lesions and stuff. They got their little different, words to describe what's going on, but it's always to deviate from the real truth of what it is. So they try to keep you in the dark about what's really happening to you. You can't assess yourself because you don't know what it really is. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. These things, and I went into that as well, like the spiritual attack, the mental attack, the mental effects, spiritual effects, all these different effects on your heart, mind, body, soul. Those stuff, it's not given to you or laid out in a way that you can really understand it, and they don't describe what's really going on to you. What you only get to see is the surface level stuff and be able to associate that with potential parasitic attacks. But what's going on internally, with your mind, how you've been controlled and manipulated there, you don't even notice that. You see what I'm saying? Because it's not assessed at any level. Not from the doctor standpoint. They just say you might be depressed, give you some kind of depression medication. Say you might have a mental disorder, give you some kind of mental disorder medication. You know what I'm saying? Like schizophrenia, all that. Schizophrenia, it's like you hearing voices. You know what I'm saying? Things is telling you to do stuff. And that's what's being associated with parasites, man. Hey guys, this stuff is crazy. Okay, I understand that. It might sound like this is a sci-fi movie. Okay? But this shit is real.
That's how you get your sanity back. Okay, by taking down a lot of the different needy creatures and I call the elusive characters that live inside our bodies. You'll see lots of pictures of parasites that will share with you what they look like. These are alien creatures, remember, that live inside our bodies, and they do control our nervous system and most of our thoughts. So you need to sort of get scared a little bit just to be able to understand, what we're all up against. We're all up against you can make a sort of a movie out of this. We're all up against a alien set of creatures that have crawled into sentient beings on planet Earth. And all of us are infected with these creatures living within our bodies as we have no idea that they do. All sickness and all disease are mostly caused by these creatures, including mental illness, cancer, remember, the alien creatures. Stage 4 cancer is when these alien creatures eat us to death, and we get a nice dose of morphine to be able to not feel the pain of these creatures eating us to death. Remember, slow kill are the parasites, especially when you don't have the sense or the observations to be able to feel their calls when they call to feed inside you, to ask you to feed them. Eat some more, okay? Have some more of this. I'm hungry again. Okay, these are the biggest reasons, okay, for you to want to be able to fast, want to be able to change your diet, is to just get back your life, to just really get back your life. I've got back mine, okay, and I've been in this business of health for over 30 years, okay, 35 years. And all I can tell you is that the number one picture that I found out, okay, in all of this is that we need to be able to learn how to take care of ourselves before we get sick, because once you get sick, and we're all sick to a certain layer, once you get sick though, okay, you're gonna have to really figure out what to do. So just put your smart caps on for a little while, guys, and just know that you do have to change the oil in your car, and you do have to change the filters, okay? And when you do this is something that you know that's right, okay? So look at your body as a church, and this church needs to be cleaned. It needs to be really cleaned. And I'm talking about take all the elusive characters we call parasites out of the body.
Gosh, are you understanding the magnitude of what the doctor is saying? Guys, this stuff run a lot deeper than we could have ever imagined. You can't even fathom the depths of how this stuff is going. But either way, man, I thought that this piece was important. There's a connection there. See, I like to go back and I like to grab connections. So sometimes you might find me talking about stuff you might have heard in the past, but I'm linking it with something that we know from present now. Okay, so this is all about putting this stuff together, putting the pieces together and figuring out what the hell is going on now. You understand what I mean? Putting these pieces together and figuring out what the hell is going on out here. So, however it went, man, remember when they was talking about the IV, okay? The IV, they was trying to steer us away from getting the IV, okay? Because we know that directly affects parasites, right? They didn't want you knowing about that. They didn't want nobody dealing with that, okay? And that was as far as the CV. I'm starting to wonder, guys, and this is for everybody, man, and I don't think that people will know if they're truly themselves or truly disconnected. Like you said, you got to disconnect yourself from the parasites. You got to disable the parasites. You got to disable they energy field, whatever that they putting out, whatever that they using to control us. you gotta disable that, but you gotta shut them things down, period. And I'm wondering how many people all of a sudden just wake up and able to think for themselves. Because I remember I told y'all, man, before the pandemic went down, I did like several parasite detoxes, and it was like and it could have been God. Could have been God setting me up for the path that I was about to take. I don't know, but I just find it real ironic, real ironic, because it was literally, man, it might have just happened, man. Sometimes things happen like that. But I told y'all, my nephews end up having the scabies thing, right? And they brought that crap over my house, and I had a sleepover with all my nieces and nephews and everything, and everybody got freaking scabies, okay? Which was insane, crazy. I never dealt with nothing like that in my life, but it caused me to have to get IV and stuff, right? Which I used that, man. I used it like 2-3 times, okay? And right, that was an external. Like I did like an external cleanse, and I also did an internal. Okay, that's when I first used DE, the parasite detox. I used that in my system because an old friend had hit me. It's like, yo, I think you need to get this detox going. So I did that, and then like I swear to y'all, it was like maybe after that, maybe about a year from that moment, we went into the pandemic, okay? And I was able to see things and move a little more freely, man, and not be caught up in some of the movements that the other people were, and was able to kind of understand what was happening, okay? It also opened my mind, and that's when I really started doing this stuff. It's after I did all that cleansing. So it could have been a thing, and obviously they had, well, I don't know for sure, but obviously I took schedules and stuff as a child and things like that. But I very well may have killed all the parasites that was in me at that time. Okay, I mean, I hit them from all angles. And that's why I tell you, somebody just hit me up yesterday and was talking about they've been feeling a certain kind of way since they took the swab, the quiz. All right, and they was asking me about what they need to take, and I told them, based off of what you might very well have going on. A lot of people had that when they start having headaches. Either they had the swab, and you might relate to this. Some of y'all took the pop quiz and everything. You also start having headaches and stuff. Your health declined, and you also, a lot of people reported being lethargic and stuff after that. This was before they even took a walk. People reported this stuff, man, low energy and stuff like that, man, and pain, sinus problems, all kind of stuff. Well, another piece this girl was talking about, something was in her sinus, okay? Now, I don't know if that particular girl took a pop quiz, but you almost can almost assume that most people did. You can almost assume that they did at least took the pop quiz. But like I told her, man, you need to do an internal cleanse of your system and do the stuff that's gonna knock that stuff out. But the point of the matter is, like, for me, man, like I said, I did stuff to address the internal and also did stuff to address the external at the same time. So that might have protected me from the voices and telling me to go take this and do that, man. And I was able to be a free thinker and think for myself, and also see the deception. Like, oh, we got one that can see. Yeah, y'all didn't get me. I was one of the ones that was able to slip by. And I think it might have been more people like that was able to slip by because of stuff or protocols that they was on prior to the pandemic or during the pandemic. You see what I mean? So they weren't so controlled by the frequency and the programming. And I believe that with that, it goes back to, like I say, what Dr. B. Serious was saying about these particular type of parasites or whatever at the time came into men and started controlling their actions and stuff. Like, you look at all the stuff that I put together before about how they control your sexual habits, they control your eating, okay? People have eating disorders, people have low energy, they don't want to do nothing, they crave certain things, okay? They engage in certain type of activities, they desire certain type of feeding habits. And the other piece that I got in here where the lady was talking about frequency or them being able to feed off of energy and it's a reason why they make you drawn to the cell phone. Okay, they make you drawn to the cell phone, make you spend most of your time looking at the phone and stuff. It's something that they're getting out of this.
Hiya. I thought I'd do another video because I found something out quite interesting which affects all of us, and it's something that we all can do. You know, we can all take our power back and change our reality from just this information alone. So there's layers and layers of control over us, from where we project from to here. I was working on a gentleman earlier on, and I was deprogramming his brain. So I deprogrammed the body and connected him up to natural energies, to, you know, disconnected him from moon matrix, and then I started to like delve into the brain. And the brain is in different segments, so they program different parts of the brain and to do different things other than the natural thing the brain would do. And when I was looking right at the back of the brain here, I don't know what, I'm not a neurologist, so I don't know what the name of this part of the brain is, but I went into it and I didn't see the program at first, but what I did see was a parasite inside the brain. It was like this big fat worm wiggling around. So I took it out, and then I then saw the program. So I went back into the matrix, and part of his consciousness was in a program, and the program was him. I saw the consciousness in the room, and the consciousness was looking at a mobile phone, like with his eyes. And he was just standing there with his mobile phone, but he was also, the consciousness was tapping himself at the back of the head, like that. And I said to this gentleman over the phone, I said, do you tap yourself at the back of the head? Do you hit yourself? And he was like, no. He said, oh, but I do scratch myself at the back of the head a lot. He said, I've done it for years. I said, did that start happening when you got a mobile phone? And he was unsure. He said, I've had it for years, and I've had this itchy thing for years as well. So anyway, I took the consciousness out of the programming and out of the matrix and started to clear it up. And when I started to clear the consciousness up, loads of parasites came out of the head of the consciousness, like this octopus and everything like that. And I'm like, what is going on? This is disgusting. So I asked the question, how did these parasites get here? Then I was shown that the technology, the phones that we look at are connected to the antennas, yeah? And then they don't go straight to the phones, they go through our heads, through our brains, and connect that way. And these develop these parasites, but these parasites live off this phone energy, whatever technical word you want to call it. So the energy of that, and then these parasites grow and then live off it, and that's the addiction. We're not addicted to the looking at the phone. The parasites need their food, yeah, because every time we look at the phone, we get hit with this energy. And so anyway, I went back to look at the consciousness, because I cleared him up, and I was like, well, what will he do now? You know, what type of consciousness is he? What does this brain normally do? You know, it's been programmed to be addicted to a mobile phone. Well, what is its natural way of being? And he started to show me enjoy life and interact with life rather than looking at life. And it's also our energy. There was a lot of energy, so he sprung into energy and started to enjoy life, and a lot of his personality started to shine through. So, which puts us in a situation that these phones, the phones that we look at, that we also give our children to and everything like that, cause parasites in the brain. Not only that, but they cause a black energy around the brain and around the spinal cord, and this projects into our reality and keeps us in a very low like a suppressed vibration. So when I asked what it does to him, I just saw a smoke over his reality, all around his reality, where it was dense, where he couldn't see colour, consciousness as well. And when he came up out of this smoke, the colour, like reality, became a lot brighter. It reminded me of, you know, the film Avatar, where he starts to see consciousness. He's not seeing the forest anymore, but he's seeing the plants come alive and everything like that. Everything sort of turns HD and colourful, and it's like he was stepping into another reality. It was a lot lighter, a lot brighter, and he could see the consciousness again. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to hearing from him in the next few days and see how his reality changes, and I'll update you. So yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a lot more to do on the brain, but I'll leave it for another time. It's quite a really interesting subject, but a lot of like the repetition, when they call the reptilian brain, that's just a program to keep us doing, you know, keep us doing the same thing over and over again. Basically, how the brain acts is very opposite on how it should act, and they also do that with the heart. The heart's got programs on top of it, so which gets the heart to act more like the brain, and it's very weird, but yeah, interesting. But I'll keep you updated. Okay, thank you. You take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so what this doctor is implying, man, is basically that these parasites are essentially alien life forms. Okay, they are life forms from another place in the atmosphere or in the galaxy, whatever. But these things are intelligent. Now, this is the second time that we come across information that's pointing to them being intelligent. Now, remember, Dr. Carrie Majay came across and she was telling, like, these parasites seem like they're intelligent. Like, he knew I was looking at it, like it understood. It was, she said it was weird, but I really felt like, you know, it's like you looking at something, like we assume because something is something like small, it's micro, that it doesn't have power or it doesn't have the same, like, you know, capability of us. Just like you look at a bee, like it's harmless until it stings you, like dang, that hurt. Okay, like certain snakes and stuff is poisonous, enough poison to take you down. Scorpions of certain size, tarantulas. Okay, these are things of certain sizes that have a pack a punch, that have power that, you know, can be related to or equated to that of a man in the sense of what it's capable of doing. Not strength-wise, but power. That's their power. Okay, these parasites, and I don't know, and I'm just getting the rest of the information, but these parasites and things have the ability to control us. Okay, and from what I'm understanding, guys, let's get to the point now where I'm seeing that this is bigger than just the ones that was in the wall. Okay, it's all level of parasites that have certain type of capabilities and powers. Okay, they have some type of field of energy or something that they're equipped with. Okay, they're able to send off like some type of signal or something. They're able to be, now I don't know if they're being directed. I don't know if it's coming from I can't say it's coming from the antennas that was put up. I don't know if that's exactly how that part is going. But from what I understand, man, these things have the ability, and that's what their intentions are. Okay, is to get you and control you. Just like I showed you where the ants and stuff and these different insects will get these parasites in them, and then those ants will leave the colony. They leave the colony, they go around, they find a certain type of leaf, and they sit on it and they wait until they die, and then they drop eggs of some sort down from the leaf onto the other ants and stuff that pass by, and they get infected with them same parasites that then control them and tell them what to do. They, like, once they connect to the nervous system of the ant, which is the same thing that these things do inside us. That is why people have neurological damage. That's why these things have been going in. They saying all these nervous system issues, neurological system issues. People having, think about it, guys. These things are linked to mental disorder. Well, the mental disorders and mental behaviors are linked directly to your neurological system. Okay, and it makes sense. Like I told y'all, I believe they've been doing this stuff since when you first get here. They putting these things, like we thought they was just putting the parasites in, man. Thought they was just putting them in with the wall. But what I'm coming to understand, man, is that they putting these things in with other schedules. You understand what I'm saying? Like as a child, and these things are going in and they attaching themselves to people's nervous systems, and they controlling them. They controlling them from that point on. They've been controlling people. They controlling how we think. They controlling how we live. People are not even thinking and moving for themselves. They moving based off what the parasites is telling them to do. And I don't know, guys. I can't say whether this is a specific. I mean, at this point, you might as well call it a species of some sort that has this ability, man. But from what I understand, like the doctors is putting it out there that once you remove, you got to get you're not acting on your own behalf. Like you're not directing your thoughts. These aren't your thoughts. It's not your life. You're not running your life once these things get inside of you. Okay? And it's very well possible that this is the whole intent behind them, and why so many people, man, like I told you, so many people seem controlled. So many people seem disconnected from reality. So many people don't think for themselves. You know, we talk about stupid. We're like, oh, it's stupid people. Well, why are people stupid? Like, I know I'm not stupid. I know I have a level of intelligence that you know, that is inferior, you know, to some people, because they see me as a free thinker, somebody that has control of their own mind, their own thoughts. You know, I direct my behaviors and I do what I want to do. You know, which is why I've been able to break away and see this stuff for what it is. But it's a lot of people, most people, man, they just control. People don't question. They just get up, they go to work, and they move and function like that without even thinking for a second moment about what is compelling them to move and do the stuff they do or act in the.
This is a subject that I haven't seen much info on. Is it possible that there's a link between demonic entities and the negative parasitic beings that live in our bodies? There's some really intriguing connections that we think deserve to be explored. Many of you, even those who actually like this channel, will likely be dismissive of this information or label this as pseudoscience. The truly curious and ambitious, though, will undoubtedly see the value in the message and personal stories shared with this presentation. When we talk about demons, what are we talking about? Evil spiritual entities? Or are they just a figment of our imagination? Well, I would say they are very real, and not only are they spiritual beings, but they can manifest into this world in many ways, and one of those ways is through parasitic organisms. Let's start with, what are the common symptoms of demon possession? 1. They have the power to influence your mind and to fill it with destructive thoughts. 2. They can have an influence on the dream realm, manifesting as shadow beings during sleep paralysis. 3. Possession usually involves becoming sick and constantly tired. 4. Your spiritual powers and ambition begin to diminish. 5. Over-extreme sexual desires that can never be fulfilled. 6. Material and egotistical desires that end up driving the person possessed and mad. And that's just the start. I'm sure it could go on, but I want you to think about the connection between demons and the infestation of parasites in the body. Now, before I continue, I just want to say that I'm sure there are specific cases of demon possession that go into its own, you know, like the foaming from the mouth, the deep evil voices, or speaking in tongue and whatnot, but that's not what I'm talking about. While it is possible that there could be some cases where that happens, it's mostly a Hollywood dramatization in order to separate demon possession from disease. What we're about to cover is really deep, but hang on and channel that inner light. there's no reason to be afraid. I'm basically implying that we are always possessed by multiple different demons to one degree or another. This is also connected to the other video that we've made on the Nephilim and Archons, but this has more to do with our modern lifestyles and what we digest, physically and mentally. Most humans are not aware of how many parasites they really have. I'll throw myself on that boat. For most of my life growing up, I thought that was something that only happened in third world countries. Boy, was I wrong. I think most Americans share this silly way of thinking, not knowing that almost all of our eating habits result in parasitic beings finding a home in the waste that fills our body. If you eat meat, let me just let you know you are filled with parasites. Not only are high protein diets extremely acidic, but the body doesn't know what to do with all this excess protein. And what ends up happening is our sewage system gets backed up. Also, most of us are completely enzyme deficient, and there's no way that our bodies can actually digest this meat. So you know what happens? It literally stays in your body and rots. If only you knew what your colon really looked like inside. Oh, but you're vegan. You think you're an exception? Think again. Most vegans consume an extreme amount of protein in order to compensate for not eating meat. Most of them cook all of their foods. Again, enzyme deficient, and top that with genetic deficiencies, we end up having issues removing toxins from our body. All of this cooked food is dead, and your body has no idea what to do with all this toxicity. The only way to protect itself is by forming mucus. This mucus is what's saving your body. What tends to happen is this hardens and stays in our body for a very long time. That's the point I'm trying to drive home. If you eat 3 times a day, you're cooking your foods, and you're not taking extra measures to cleanse your body, then you are most likely infested with parasites, meat or no meat. Most of you are probably saying to yourself, or in the comment section, well, I feel fine, I'm doing great. Yeah, okay, that's what you think. Or is that what the parasites are thinking for you? I think most of us can't imagine the amount of energy that we could have if we remove these parasites from the body. It's not just that, most people don't even realize that their thoughts are not even their own. This also explains why it's so difficult to silence the mind.
It's not really that crazy to think that if there is something inside of us that wanted to thrive, like a parasite, that they could influence their host to make decisions that create a more hospitable environment for their kind. These microbial organisms absolutely have the ability to steer the thoughts, emotions, and actions of their host. Sounds an awful lot like possession to me. When you get cravings for unhealthy foods, that isn't you. It's the parasites. Fast on juices for a week and you'll see what I'm talking about. You won't be able to think straight at first, just like a drug withdrawal.
Behaviors that they act. Guys, I know this stuff sounds far-fetched, it sounds insane. But for what we coming to find out, coming to realize, man, this whole world that we've been living in for this whole entire existence is not what we thought it was. It's not what we thought it was. But if you can go, if they can go as far as, man, as a parasite being able to control the mind of an ant or insects and animals too, is from what I understand it. You don't think that these same parasites will control your behavior and stuff? Just like those parasites make an ant go and I seen I think I played it for y'all too, where a parasite made a grasshopper, or it's a grasshopper, I think it gets in the grasshopper, the cricket, and makes them jump in the water and commit suicide. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you, hey guys, and I'm just telling you this, I'm telling you this now because I'm starting seeing, that's why I played the piece together with the guy talking about the demonic spirits and the parasites. And that's why I told y'all before, back in like the 1800s, 1700s or something, when people had, when they were sick, they would cast out spirits and stuff. Well, dude is talking about the connection between parasites and demons, parasites and spirits, okay? But they would cast out demons essentially when people were sick back in the day. What we understand is sickness also correlates directly with parasites, okay?
Let me just put it this way. You have beings inside of you that just sit and demand what to eat. They feast all day long, and then they poop inside of you all day and night. If you still don't see the connection, then let me make it very clear. Parasites have the ability to affect your mind. This isn't just conspiracy talk either. Do you guys remember Osmosis Jones? The bacteria were directly influencing his mind, it had access to his most personal, deep memories. This is exactly the case in the real world. It's not just food either. The tendency to over-masturbate is controlled by these parasites. When you release an orgasm, not only is this a huge release of spiritual etheric energy, but this ends up creating a hormonal disbalance, and it also causes adrenal fatigue. The parasites can benefit from all of this because what tends to happen is your kidneys will be overworking, and eventually you're not filtering out your blood so that you become more and more toxic to the point where most of your endocrine system fails to operate as it should. You might say, well, my blood tests show up fine. Yeah, I wouldn't rely on that. One of the most important functions of the body is to keep the blood alkaline. All this toxicity and waste is being removed by the lymphatic system. You will only see problems in the blood once it becomes very serious. That goes back to people thinking they're just fine. Well, we usually don't become aware of disease in our body until it manifests as a serious issue. Most people don't consider that maybe most of their tiny symptoms like tiredness, headaches, bad odor, depression, and itchiness are the first signs that something isn't right. But what do most people do? They go to the doctor and get these symptoms suppressed with what they assume will be a quick fix. These chemical medicines do not solve the issue, they just suppress it. Eventually, it will come back, and when it does, it will be a full-on disease. That's the scariest thing, is that these parasites will give you the impression that everything is okay. If you were trying to tell me this stuff a year ago, I wouldn't buy it. I'm one of those people who literally never gets sick. I'm always very positive, so I just attributed it to that maybe my immune system was strong, but I was wrong. I have had symptoms my whole life, and I have never had the eyes and awareness to realize that it wasn't normal. I was in denial. So don't get scared. But there is a truth to this that I know many are not ready for, because what this all has to do with is a complete change in how we live our lives and perceive reality. And I realize change is scary to most of us. I understand that we can't all be Buddhists and just remove ourselves from all desires. We've been born into this modern way of life, not realizing that in order to coexist in this modern age, one must fall into sin to one degree or another. I know that might sound strange, but if you're on a computer, then technically you're sinning. But that's the thing, we all have to balance. We can't just completely remove ourselves from society. We can take it step by step. And maybe one day, a change will take place in this realm. And as we grow spiritually, this process will become easier and easier. This video is not a solution video, but more of a discussion, a challenge to question everything we know about every facet of life. If we can accept that we have parasites, we can start to see why this would be connected to demons. Parasites are beings of death. They thrive off of death and rotting. They too can have an influence on your dreams. Here's an example. One evening, I went to bed feeling pretty good until I woke up from a very strange dream. In the dream, there were these white spiders inside of my body coming out of my mouth. They were white fuzzy spiders. I woke up and I felt absolutely horrible. My throat hurt extremely bad. I go to look in the mirror, open my mouth, and all I could see were these white fuzzy dots on the back of my throat. I had strep, and I swear that I had no feeling of a sore throat before going to bed, so it had nothing to do with like my subconscious picking up small details or something. No, this was a dream about parasites in my body right before I got sick. Luckily, I recovered in one day from drinking apple cider and eating plenty of fruits.
When I was young, I was diagnosed with ADD and then schizophrenia, though my mother debated it with the doctor until the schizophrenia was downgraded to tinnitus. So they put me on Ritalin, but it didn't help. I suffered from visual hallucinations in school, making it impossible to concentrate. The doctors and specialists admitted that they didn't know what the root of the problem was or how to fix it. I was only instructed to go purchase expensive pills that caused ulcers in my stomach, which they then prescribed even more medicine for. It was a vicious cycle. On top of it all, I was always hearing these nasty voices in my head. It sounded like static from a radio or manifested in my own voice, telling me that I was worthless and life was pointless, so why not just do whatever? I think a common misconception is that freedom of being an adult is getting to drink booze and eat as much pizza and ice cream as you want, but I have to disagree. Those are drugs pushed on us as kids, and when we become adults, we think that we're choosing to eat those things, but all that's really happening is we're becoming slaves to our cravings. Much like a thrall is a slave to a demon. It's exactly like drug addiction. It's called the Food and Drug Administration for a reason. Why would food and drugs be lumped together if they didn't serve the same purpose? Alcohol is even called spirits. When someone has an addiction problem, they call it demons. It's also common knowledge that addiction is a disease. So if addiction is a disease, as well as a demon, then what makes any other disease not a form of demon? Typically, parasites are these long, worm-like things or fibrous beings that inhabit our guts, and they resemble antennae or fiber optics. Begs the question, if parasites can influence our thoughts, and they can influence our dreams, and they can influence our desires, then could it be possible that parasites are antennae for demonic entities to manifest in the body? Para, prefix. A prefix with many meanings, including alongside of, beside, near, resembling, beyond, apart from, and abnormal. Site, an area of ground in which a town, building, or monument is constructed. So if we imagine our bodies as temples, this word begins to make a lot of sense. Something that is inside your body that shouldn't be. Almost all religions attribute worms and parasites as being evil or the work of Satan. Is it influenza? Or is it the influence of demonic entities? The word influenza even sounds like influence, so what do people say when you sneeze? They bless you. Why would they do that? The average answer, of course, is that people in the olden days were just dumb Christian zealots who attributed everything to Jesus and blessings, because the general idea is that they were stupider in the past. However, I expect that the perpetuation of that idea is to cause confusion and mistrust in all things spiritual.
Even schizophrenia, where many people see and hear evil voices from all around, could be caused by disharmony of the body and an infestation of parasites. From Science Daily, quote, recent studies have found evidence of worrisome impacts, including an association with schizophrenia because of the parasite T. gondii, is found in the brain as well in the muscles. In addition, field and laboratory studies in mice, rats, and people have shown that infection with T. gondii triggers change in behavior and personality. There's a study that goes over this same exact thing. A growing body of evidence suggests a correlation between schizophrenia and exposure to infectious agents. The majority of studied cases concerns the infection caused by T. gondii, an obligatory intracellular parasite that infects about 1/3 of the entire human population, according to the available data. Quote, numerous epidemiological case control studies show a higher prevalence of T. gondii infestation in individuals with various psychiatric and behavior disorders, including schizophrenia. A lot of these studies are just focusing on one parasite alone, but really, they have no clue what's actually going on in the body. That's another thing I've always accepted growing up, that the medical establishment actually knows what they're doing. I have no idea why we think this. Doctors do not heal anyone. Allopathic medicine fails at solving any issues, and most of the time, it just makes it worse. Again, why do we assume that these people actually know what these chemicals are doing in our body? I'm sure they understand it from a very boxed-in perspective, but they have no idea how it affects our body as a whole. The parasites love antibacterials. It doesn't kill them all, by the way. It just completely destroys your gut flora and kills all the good bacteria. You have parasites in your brain, in your heart, and when you take these medications, it destroys what you have left of good bacteria, just making it easier for the parasites to thrive. The only way to get rid of them is through awareness and diet. But this video is not about that. In time. For the most part, the goal of this video is to connect two different subjects that normally aren't associated with each other. For many, spiritual realities are very hard to understand and to experience. Most humans have completely lost the sense of feeling within their body. An animal knows when they eat something that they're not supposed to, and then they'll never eat it again. Not humans though. We just stuff ourselves all day long with mostly indigestible foods that just sit in our body and rot, while our body overworks and tires itself trying to get rid of all this waste that never ends. If this has touched you and you feel inspired to make a change, start by taking a breath. Start with silence. Start by shutting down ego. For this too is controlled by parasites. Just 5 minutes of relaxation can completely restart your system. We intend on continuing with health subjects, so if you're interested, please let us know what you think. Thank you for watching, and may our minds be unveiled.
Let go of everything you think to be true. Relax the mind and ask the question, Do I truly understand what this reality is?
We look at it as, oh, it weakens your immune system, but is it also enabling or disabling your energy field or your life force? You understand what I'm saying? Like, are they doing that because they have this power or this energy themselves that they put up? Like the doctor was saying, you have to disconnect yourself from the parasites. Okay, guys, this stuff is getting really deep. It's getting really deep, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we stumbling across information and stuff, man, that's really just not known. I think some levels of the true, scientific research and stuff that's been conducted, they already understand and got an idea of how these things move. I know for sure, I know our govs and everything, I know they know exactly what's going on. They know exactly what's going on. In fact, I'm willing to bet that they are 100% involved with this as part of the program. And that's why we talk about, like I told y'all guys, we talk about the parasite that Carrie Majay was finding, right? Talking about it was intelligent, it lifted itself off the glass and stuff, and she's like, it was looking at it. It's like it knew, it was self-aware, right? Then we talk about the other ones, the whatchamacallit that they spring. Talk about those, the ones that go in your skin, the one that they put in the mask, the ones that they put in the pop quiz. All right, we start talking about them and how they made sure they put them right up in here. You see what I'm saying? Like, guys, I know I sound crazy right now. I know this shit ain't registering with everybody, man. It ain't registering with everybody. But those things, they move. We've seen it, man. I showed y'all a video about that. They move, they active, okay? And those, from what we understand, are not of this world. Guys, we talking about mind control. We talking about manipulating people's behaviors, people's actions, people's activities, people's thoughts. We're talking about health. Guys, I'm gonna cut this video short, but I want to say this. When you look at all the different angles and facets that they implemented with us, from the frequency, from the program, from the fluoridation, from the nano, the antennas, and the potential MK Ultra parasites and things. When you look at all the angles that they hit people with, man, you can only assume that one of the 4 or 5 different tactics that they deployed actually may have worked. And if you got hit with 4 or 5, who knows if several of them didn't work. You understand what I mean? So either way, man, like I told old girl, because you got to look at it like this, man. Sometimes, and this is what I tell y'all before, like with me, like I've been doing DE, I've been doing the Genesis, I've done the Body Shot, and I also done the New Dawn. That's why people say, hey man, your skin looking good. Yeah, like I told y'all, I did New Dawn, did the DE. That stuff also makes sure that you start getting your nutrients, the DE do. But the New Dawn also cleans out your skin, your pores, your dirt, the oil, the parasites on your face. So you'll start having your natural complexion back. We're talking about exterior stuff. This is exterior. Okay, y'all can't see my interior. Okay, but you also don't understand how my mind is functioning different now. And what gives me another level of intelligence to put stuff together. Alright, so I tell y'all all the time, like, you just like with when you eating bad and stuff, it's tearing up your insides. Okay, but it's also appearing on your outside. You drinking alcohol, and I told y'all about that. Alcohol. Okay, stop with the alcohol. Leave the alcohol alone. That opens you up to demonic possession. It opens you up to the spirit. Something with the alcohol, guys, listen. Okay, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, this stuff is way deeper than what you know. And I'm putting this stuff together for y'all so y'all can understand. Understand me. Put the alcohol down. Okay? If you drinking, put the alcohol down. It does nothing but open you up for demonic possession and spirits. You say, well, Ned, how do you know? Look, man, I'm trying to tell y'all. I told y'all I was in law enforcement. All right? People that use alcohol have a tendency to black out. They have moments where they don't recollect shit. You understand? They don't recollect shit. All right? And the reason for that is because they are not in a rightful mind. I had videos I played for y'all before, and I might go back and get it, so I can show you the correlation between alcohol and possession. Okay? People get on alcohol and then they don't remember. They just like, oh, I don't know. What did I do? Oh, what happened last night? Oh, please tell me I didn't do that. They mess around and slept with somebody, or they committed a crime, a violent act and stuff. I'm telling y'all guys, alcohol and certain drugs, chemical stuff, they have a chemical reaction in the brain.
When you drink alcohol, you are opening yourself to negative entity attachments. They call them spirits for a reason, and actually the word alcohol is derived from the Arabic term al-ghul, which is a demonic entity. Also a demonic entity is jinn, and what do people drink? They drink gin and tonic. When you drink alcohol, it lowers your vibration and frequency to the level that these entities operate at, so they have easy access. And this is why when people get drunk, they're not themselves, because they're basically possessed. This is why all the worst mistakes that you've probably made in your life is when you've been drunk, because you're not there, you're not fully there, your spirit is not fully there because you're being taken over. So why are we still doing it? This is government poison. It has no benefit to us. Society as a whole is absolutely worse off for alcohol. So guys, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below.
Okay, just like I'm telling y'all, they've been using stuff to calcify your pineal and stuff. You can also do chemicals and stuff. Like I said, certain things will decalcify, but also there's things that will open it up and open you up to the spiritual realm. People talk about like certain drugs and stuff like mushrooms and LSD and THC. Okay, some levels of that, ecstasy. Okay, and I'm not promoting no drugs. I'm telling y'all, don't do that stuff. Okay, and if you gonna go about your spiritual evolution, go about it the right way. Just like I told y'all, don't go through the frequency route. Don't use frequency to try to open up your pineal gland. Okay, you need to open up your pineal gland organically, and then as your heart is pure and you're in the right place, then you want to tap into the spiritual realm. You do that stuff backwards, man, you're gonna pay the consequences. Understand that. Don't do that, man. At the end of the day, like I said, you drinking alcohol and stuff, man, it opens you up to demonic possession. I had a guy before, man, real good guy, man, but I mean the level of the crime that he committed, man, which I tell y'all, he murdered somebody, and he basically, man, mutilated their corpse. I mean, he chopped out the eyeball, all kind of crap, man. Real good guy, right? Like on the surface, you like, man, this is a nice dude, but he did this crime and he didn't even really recollect what he did. So I had to go in his file, and look at it up. I'm like, damn, you know, I'm like talking this, I'm like, man, you were the sweetest dude, but after reading his file, I wouldn't want to be left alone with him in a dark room, you know. But on the surface, you're like the nicest smile, real kind, you know, gentle thing, man. Don't like he would hurt a fly, but he was consumed with alcohol at the time of the crime. He blacked out. He doesn't remember anything that happened. A spirit took over him. Okay, that's how you got people. You got spirits floating around, like I tell you all the time. Spirits waiting around, waiting for a vessel, waiting for somebody to inhabit. And once they do that, man, they will commit crimes that they might have done in their past, that he might have had the spirit of another killer. You see what I'm saying? So think about it. They got these killers, people do all these crimes and stuff, man. They vibrating low, distracted, their spirits is possessed or whatever. Then they get put to death in the electric chair, they die, they kill themselves, all kind of stuff. And then the spirits are floating in the atmosphere. They're floating in the atmosphere looking for another vessel to get in so they can go commit another violent crime. So you distracted and you floating, you know, on a very low level, okay? You vibrating low, and guess what? You are an easy target, an easy vessel for them to inhabit. They go in, they inhabit you, guess what you doing now? You looking for the next woman that you can murder or rape or cause some kind of bodily harm, okay? And you know that you can get in somebody that's vibrating low. You know somebody that's opening up their pineal through alcohol, okay? Because people with alcohol, guess what they do? They hallucinate, they see things. You taking certain drugs, you hallucinate, you seeing things. Well, why you hallucinate? There's a connection there between that and the spiritual realm and opening up the pineal. Like I told you, they know how to calcify that stuff, and it's also different things that you could do that will open that thing up temporarily, which will give access to spirits, evil spirits, from the interdimensions to come into you, inhabit your vessel, and cause you to do stuff that's out of character. And for you waking up and they like, hey, sir, you're coming with us. Like, just put your hands behind your back. You're like, what's going on? What I do? How many of y'all can relate to that? How many of y'all actually did something in your past? Cause I know you all like me, you went to college and stuff. But unfortunately for me, I didn't drink. Okay, that was me. See, and it may be another reason why I've been so tapped in. I didn't drink. I didn't drink alcohol. Peer pressure, that stuff didn't bother me. Okay, I was a very strong-minded leader to most. Like, people followed me when I was in high school and stuff. Like, I was a leader. You couldn't tempt me. I was the type you was gonna try to run with me because I was a leader. If it was gonna come down to it, I run into your crew, you run to my crew. You know I'm the leader. You know that I ain't got to speak it, ain't nobody got to say, but at the end of the day, hey, that's the leader. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I am who I am today. It might be a spiritual thing there. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of y'all, man, y'all went through college and stuff like that, man. You opened yourself up to spirits, and if you haven't cleansed yourself, I'm talking about even from then. You see what I'm saying? You got unclean spirits in you. You got opened yourself. Remember, guys, and it's really, 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 really fascinating to me. That remember the movie the Poltergeist, when the guy, he drank that alcohol. Now I'm starting to look at this from a different standpoint. So now I'm interpreting how the movie was symbolic. We talk about the CI. You know what I'm talking about. But they behind the movies, creating the movies and stuff. But they also understand the spiritual realm and stuff because certain beings are involved with the production of the movies. These ain't normal people. You understand? Stuff deep, man, I already know. But you remember in there, the guy drank the alcohol, but it had a parasite in the bottle. Once he swallowed the parasite, he became possessed. He became possessed and he started acting strange with his wife. Yeah.
His holy temple. God is in his holy
Okay, Dad?
Yeah. I just wanted to give my little girl a hug. Oh, hey, your mom and I would like to talk alone.
Go put on your nightie, honey. What's going on?
Nothing. I just want us to be alone.
Caroline's upset.
Does that feel good?
I should dry her hair.
She's all right. She's safe.
Stephen, come on. Honey.
Is that good?
Honey. Don't. Now.
Why? When?
What do you mean?
Diane, I have needs too.
Well, it seems to me your needs have been fulfilled by the bottle tonight.
Yeah. There's something there. There's definitely something there. But I don't know if that was so much a symbolic interpretation that was supposed to be had, or if that was really from the parasitic aspect of the possession, or if at that point he got taken over, or did the parasite take over, or did he open himself up with the alcohol for spirits to inhabit him. It could be a combination, but there's something going on there, guys. There's something going on there. It's something that they know about. You understand what I mean? But anyway, like I said, man, I know some of y'all in high school, college, man, y'all did drugs, y'all did alcohol, stuff like that, man. Some of y'all might experience crazy things happening to y'all, man, stuff that y'all did, y'all don't recollect, blackouts or whatever, different events, y'all don't recall this stuff happening, but you know you did it. And I'm telling y'all now, man, I think that's the one reason why they push alcohol the way they do. But those things, man, those times and stuff that y'all did these things, man, it's a good chance that y'all were guys. So it's crazy. Like, for me, man, it's like, now that I got a better understanding of how this world works, who's in charge of what they doing, man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man, and this is for the folks, man. I don't know if y'all saw it, man. If you late to the party, then I'm telling you now. Remember, they just dropped all them damn mosquitoes. Over a couple different states. I mean, they dropped millions of mosquitoes, man. I'm willing to bet, man, that them mosquitoes are carrying some kind of parasitic egg or something. Some kind of parasitic egg or something that they shooting into people, man. They injecting people with mind control.
There's a technique called CRISPR that can change the mosquito DNA in a way that either the population goes down a lot or it doesn't carry this parasite.
We have the mass-produced mosquitoes getting ready to give us the eggs to go out directly into the field.
The city has reported its first cases of West Nile virus this year. Health department says 3 people have tested positive.
More cases of malaria. As it stands right now, a total of 4 cases have been confirmed in Sarasota County.
It truly is very rare. The parasite developed inside the mosquito in order for it to pass it to another human being.
State health officials say malaria is spread in Florida through Anopheles mosquitoes.
Thanks to heavy rains, officials say this year will be pretty bad for mosquitoes. Repellents that have about 25 to 30% DEET tend to be the most reliable.
You know, nobody would have predicted that I and Dr. Fauci would be so prominent.
You've been keeping track of what the CIA and the Defense Department have been doing for a long time as far as using us as guinea pigs for mind control and other types of horrible things they have in mind for us and the rest of the people in the world. What are some of them?
Well, it started out basically with the CIA doing experimentations on their own men to discover if they could get rid of agents who were going to quit the department and still had classified information. So they utilized different types of drugs and pain and hypnosis and electric shock to try and get the guys to forget. Then they also did experimentations to using different chemicals to see if you can induce a person to commit a crime or induce him to do that or to do this. Of course, the CIA claimed that it didn't carry it through. The documentation we got was actually that they did that. Then we came across the overall project called MK Ultra. Its earlier code name was Artichoke, and that included 149 sub-projects. Those, 149. Yeah. And those sub-projects range from what I just described to open-air testing in the United States, experimentation on prisoners, experimentation on soldiers, experimentation on college students.
Would these people know they were being experimented on and gave their approval?
No, except for the quote-unquote voluntary Army soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
And the way the voluntary Army program worked is it started in 1959, and the guys were just told that they would be doing experimentation on new weapons, right? And then they'd get to Fort Detrick, Maryland, where the experimentation was done, and find out that they were going to be doing it on drugs and chemicals. But they were never told what they would be experimented on. You know, they just knew that they went crazy for a couple of days or so forth and so on, and then years later have similar things to the guys who have had Agent Orange, because there's one chemical that was used called BZ, and it's 100 times stronger than LSD. It's a very gross drug that causes a person to totally go out of his head for at least 12 hours, sometimes up to 2 to 3 weeks, where he doesn't even know where he is or who he is.
Are there residual effects to BZ?
Yes. Now, the Army at first said that they'd done testing to discover it, and they said there weren't any residual results.
It's harmless. It's harmless. They always say that.
Right. And we did a campaign to find the soldiers who had been experimented on, and we found approximately 40 in the U.S., all of which have been experiencing extreme emotional and physical upset since that time. You know, with children with birth defects, the same sort of thing as Agent Orange. But the Army, as part of the CIA's experimentations, wanted to simulate chemical biological warfare attacks and to see what effect it would have on different Americans, how far it could go in, and so forth, and also test to see how they could use it on other countries. The different kinds of things that they did without the citizens' permission anytime on any of these tests was...
Or even knowing about it.
Oh, no.
Right.
Of course not. You know, they didn't even say they were going to do a test, you know. They experimented with the use of mosquitoes, where they just let tons of mosquitoes go in South Carolina, and just to test how far the mosquitoes would go, because they had the idea that maybe if they used a particular strain of mosquitoes in, say, Soviet Russia, then those guys aren't immune to yellow fever, because they don't have yellow fever there. Then Russia could be infected with an epidemic of yellow fever. But our guys were tested on it. Not the Russians were tested on it. We were tested on it.
What other types of things did they drop in the air?
They dropped a particular bacterium called, I can't pronounce it real well, it's whatever, and it was used, and I'm sure that most people have heard of it, in San Francisco, where at least 10 people got sick from it and 1 died. In fact, Edward Nevin III is suing the Army currently because of his father, who died from it. Now, that chemical was also utilized in Florida, and it's a bacteria that causes a pneumonia-type disease, you know, respiratory problems and things like that. So that was tested in San Francisco and in Florida. Then they also used other chemicals that they've not released what they are yet. In New York, they released it in subways and in tunnels and in turnpikes in 1965 and 1956 and 1966 in 2 different tests. Then the major thing that they used after that was zinc cadmium sulfide, which the Army spokesman have again said is harmless. But the only scientific studies that we've come up with says that it could be very harmful. In fact, if a person is exposed to it continuously, it could cause death. But it would definitely cause anyone with respiratory problems to get it agitated to a degree that they would either get very, very sick or they could actually die.
Well, they've used Texas and Texans as guinea pigs for a long time, haven't they?
Yes, and that's zinc cadmium sulfide. Now, that was done in what we've documented in at least 15 different locations in the U.S., one of which was in Dallas in 1961. A series of 34 different tests were done off a TV tower, where they blew it out to a very large area, and the whole test area went from Dallas all the way down to Killeen, Texas, which is a long way. It's like 160 miles.
Well, Austin's been involved in one of these tests, too, hasn't it?
Right. The other series of tests that we discovered with zinc cadmium sulfide was in the test area was described as from Corpus Christi up to San Antonio, Austin, and over to Houston. So it was that area. And they sprayed off jet bombers the zinc cadmium sulfide by following the coastline, and then it would blow in to the coast. And then they set up samplers to see the concentration and how far it would go in. That was done in 1965 in that area. Then a year later, they did a similar type test, but this time the simulant used was 23 tons of glass beads and cork particles.
Glass beads and cork particles, and we inhale these?
Yeah, yeah. Now, those wouldn't be as dangerous as zinc cadmium sulfide, but I don't think I'd want to breathe 23 tons of glass beads. No. So, and again, the thing is, now with these tests, we are currently trying to get Texas senators at least. We've given a submission to Senator Tower and Benson and Pickle to ask them to please put a ban on any chemical biological warfare testing without anyone's permission. So that if a city wants to, you know, be utilized as a guinea pig, then they have the ability to say whether they want it or not. I mean, it's just not okay for Dallas to get sprayed and everyone in the city get that effect without their permission. And so we are trying currently to get a ban on this.
What about the certain types of testing of strictly racial or ethnic nature?
Well, we discovered that actually what they phrased it as is ethnic weapons. Now, in the United States, we've been able to document that Negro men were experimented on with LSD and other hallucinogenics who were either mental patients or prisoners. And the attempt with that is to discover how different ethnic groups or races would not be as immune to something as someone else. Like as with Soviet Russia, they don't have yellow fever. So those guys hadn't built up an immunity to yellow fever yet. So if you used a particular chemical in that area, then say Russians may not have that immunity and might get an epidemic that's real quick and then disable the country immediately.
That reminds me back in the old days, the good old days, when the Army and all used to give the smallpox infected blankets to the Indians.
Right.
We haven't really changed much, have we? Except we've gone on a mass-produced basis and have the ability to spread it throughout the whole world.
Well, the irresponsibility with it is what is the terrible thing, because the Army apparently felt like some of the guys are good guys, and they really probably felt that we need to do chemical biological warfare tests to make sure we don't get attacked on this. I mean, what if Russia came over here and did a chemical, you know, sprayed a chemical in the United States? What would happen? But who was responsible for telling the Army that that chemical was safe? I mean, that has never been in any of the documentation. Who was responsible for saying that BZ, which is an extremely dangerous drug, could be used on our soldiers? Who said it was okay to use Agent Orange and that it was harmless? You know, those guys cannot be found. They're not in the documentation. You can find out about all the tests, and then, of course, you go to the Army because the Army conducted the tests. But who in the Army said it was okay? And that's what I think is the thing that must be found out, because those individuals, I think, should be prosecuted. It was a criminal.
So as of late, there's been complaints from Netflix users that when they log on, this screen pops up. Then it just freezes. Now take a closer look. Mosquitoes, double helix, and this is a shot of the Americas. Mosquitoes all in red. Now most users think nothing of it, back out of Netflix, go back in, everything works fine. But a large amount of them are raising the obvious question. What is it? What does it mean? Some believe it's a warning. Others believe it's the government showing us what's to come, because they believe that when they show us what's about to happen, that it gives them some roundabout right to go through with it. Now by it, I mean this. A Bill Gates funded firm released 150,000 genetically modified mosquitoes into the wild. And by wild, they're referring to the United States, namely Florida. And they will continue to release 12,000 mosquitoes every week for 16 weeks. In hopes that by the end of the year, over 20 million mosquitoes will have been created after mating. Now how does it work and why are they doing this? Well, I'm glad you asked. First, the why. The proposed objective? To curb malaria and the dengue fever. And they're going to do this by using the Aedes aegypti species of mosquito, being that the females of this particular mosquito species carry and spread the diseases while the males simply can't. So Bill Gates funded Oxitec out of the UK would genetically engineer the males to carry a certain gene. This particular trait or gene gets passed on to the offspring, killing the female offspring in the early larva stages, while allowing the males to be born continuously carrying the trait, hoping that by some miracle they can actually defeat Mother Nature and kill off all the females in this particular mosquito species. But good news, guys, they've already ran test trials, so we aren't the guinea pigs. In Brazil, Malaysia, Panama, and the Cayman Islands. Now at this point, Oxitec hadn't received regulatory permission to release them in the United States until recently. It apparently started in May. Notice how this one kind of flew under the radar? And I couldn't help it. As I was reading the articles, a couple questions popped into my head. As a US citizen, I currently live in Michigan. How many people do I know that have ever had dengue fever and or malaria? 0. So of course, I took the liberty to look it up. Here you'll see which countries are the main contributors to the malaria cases worldwide. Notice that the US percentage is so small, they didn't even list it. And as I continued, I found that only 2,000 people in the United States per year get malaria. The vast majority of those cases were immigrants and or travelers from foreign countries. Hardly any domestic cases. And now the dengue fever. Only 70 local transmitted cases in Florida and 10 in Texas. So what's the real agenda here, Bill? Stay
from mosquitoes and all other different type of stuff that they putting together. Whether it be some type of insect or some type of fertilizer that they spraying over people, man. And I'm not so sure that these parasitic organisms, man, ain't behind this shit. I'm guys, I'm looking at this stuff from a lot of different angles now. Like I said, man, you got to really before, man, we hey, at the end of the day, we got to get past what we've set our mind to, you know, believe or to accept. And in order to grasp what's really happening and be able to get away from it, man, we have to think the unimaginable. You understand, man? We got to think the unimaginable and be able to counter that. And what I'm really feeling, man, you know, so far we've been a little late picking up on stuff. I mean, we get stuff before most people, but we still late. And I think it's about time we start getting ahead of the curve. I'm willing to bet, man, because every time they say they doing something for our health, it's not. It's actually for the opposite. Some other kind of method, some other strategy behind it, some ulterior motive. But it's never for your health. Never, ever for your health. You understand that? And I say that to say this, man. They talk about they was dropping these mosquitoes, this, that, and other. I'm willing to bet, man, if somebody was to grab one of them dang mosquitoes that they drop, that them things is infected with, they infected with some type of parasite or parasitic egg. I'm willing to bet, man. And this is how they doing it. And them mosquitoes is going and they shooting that stuff into people's bloodstream. Yeah. Remember, these mosquitoes are being genetically engineered. They got them in the lab. I showed y'all the video, man. Some of y'all ain't seen it, man. That's why, like I said, y'all always have to go back and play stuff, man, that I already played. That's why my videos end up long, because we connect a lot of dots. But I'm just telling y'all, man, I believe this is what they doing. Man. And people so naive, and they assume that everybody is asleep so they can get away with this kind of stuff. And quite frankly, if I just kept, most people are. But hearing and getting information from more doctors and more scientists as it relates to this, it kind of coincides with the stuff that I already been putting together, and paints a picture of pure evil, deception, lies, control, all put together, man, to bring about our demise. So yeah, guys, I ain't I'm trying to look at this from a whole different angle, man. But yeah, I believe that's what's going on, man. Yeah, because like the dude said, you gotta disconnect yourself from the parasites. We only linked a couple of the parasites to being potentially foreign organisms, or, you know, strange to this planet, or to our atmosphere. We only linked maybe one or two, but it is very well possible, man, that there's a good majority, if not all, have come from somewhere else, and they have powers that they don't want us to know about. Intelligent parasites, microorganisms. The question is, how intelligent are they? And they have the ability to send off a signal, tell you what to do. far as eating, sexual habits, behavior, agendas. So I'll tell you, even with us, man, I mean, you think about the smallest organisms, the smallest microorganisms can do that kind of stuff. What you think we can do when we not being manipulated and controlled? So yeah, it's I mean, it's fascinating, but at the same time, man, it's devastating when you think about what's going on. But yeah, we get attacked from all angles, man. We get attacked from all angles. So anyway, guys, I ain't gonna make this video any longer, man. This video, I don't know how I'm gonna break this thing down, because I was working on another video, and then this information came across my desk, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta get this in and share this with everybody, so they look at, because we've been kind of looking at this from, you know, just the walk and what they might have did with the pop quiz and stuff. But now we looking at this from a broader spectrum of what the capabilities and possibilities really are. And that changes the game completely, significantly. Now granted, we still understand that they implemented the stuff now, and they wanted those parasites to get in your brain. Like I told old girl, I can't think of her name right now, she was in the comment, in my DMs, whatever. And she was asking about what she needed to do, and I was telling y'all, that was the point I was making before camera video went out. We understand the different things that you might see surface level. Think about it, when stuff happens to you, see physically, like you understand that a lot of these skin problems that you have be parasitic, okay? Like these certain rashes, eczema and stuff like that, and psoriasis and things like that, those are really like, see, they don't tell you that, they ain't gonna tell you that, right? You need to do a cleanse to get that stuff, right? Acne and stuff like that. Trying to tell y'all what's really going on out here. But you see the damages from on the exterior. You see the stuff that happens to your physical appearance. You see what I'm saying? You may have stuff going on that you feel, but you don't know what it is. Like old girl was saying, she got the headaches and stuff like that. Those headaches, they're not gonna tell you what it is, but those are essentially, potentially, parasites in your brain causing disruption with your nervous system. You understand? They could be attacking your nervous system and stuff right now. It's why you get headaches when they moving around. Think about it. If things is moving around in your brain, you may very well feel it. The brain is very sensitive. That's why they take concussion protocols so serious when athletes get hurt, they hit their head or something, man. Because those effects, when that brain taps the side of the skull and stuff like that, man, those effects and that initial damage can be felt for some time, and the brain's sensitive. Okay, so you think about, if you got something moving around in your brain, man, it's gonna cause you to have headache. Like, what if, and I'm just theorizing, what if headaches, essentially that's where headaches come from, for the most part, is parasitic movement in the brain. I ain't saying that is God. I'm still looking into it, guys. But catch me. What would you feel if you was getting your brains eaten at? What would it feel like? Can somebody tell me that? What does it feel like when you got something eating at your leg? You feel a stinging or tingling or something like that? What would the brain feel like if something is eating at it? If not necessarily eating at, what would the brain feel like if something is moving around in there? When the lesions are occurring, remember they talk about the lesions and stuff they find in people's brain that had these parasites in them, the ones they did autopsies on. But what if people that had massive migraines all the time, it was directly linked to parasitic movement in the brain? Parasitic larvae traveling across the brain, digging deeper. Think if something was digging in your brain, don't you think your head would ache? Hey guys, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. But I ain't been wrong yet. So, I'm just theorizing. You got something in your brain eating at your brain, your head probably gonna hurt. How it got there, that's another thing. Okay? The fact that we're not looking at it. See, we talk about bladder infections, UTIs and stuff, which parasitic expert that ain't caught up with the system indicated that but I'm tripping. But they indicated that those were direct results of parasitic infections. So we got sexual, organ issues or whatnot that's been linked to parasites. We got internal issues like blood clotting and things like that, and other problems with the body that's been linked to parasites, intestines and all that. But what would the brain be like? What would be a symptom of the brain when it's not dead or isn't demented? Dementia hasn't set in. Okay, what would it be like? We don't, the extreme is dementia, Alzheimer's and all that, right? Parkinson's. That's the extreme. That's when you at the point where it's that bad. But what is the in between? What is the medium there? Like what does it look like before you get to that stage? You understand what I'm saying? Just like we link cancer and stuff, and we talk about the cyst and everything and how it starts off there and then boom, explodes to stage 4, right? Is it possible that those headaches and things is a direct result of movement? Like, see, that's where you need real doctors and stuff to be doing that kind of investigation. But what if that's the actual reason? That's it. Really, what's going on is that the parasites is moving around in the brain and causing you to have these headaches. Why else would people that took the pop quiz have all these headaches after these things, these microorganisms, Morgellons, those things moving about in your brain, doing whatever the hell they doing up there, attempting to attach themselves to your nervous system, to your pineal or your neurological system, which is why they having all these neurological problems now. What if their movement and their activity inside your brain up until that point doing that stuff is what causes the headaches, the migraines? Guys, I'm just a YouTuber. I'm just a journalist, right? But yeah, a research journalist, man, it's just research. I don't have $100 billion at my disposal to look into this stuff. I don't have you guys' tax dollars to look into this stuff. But you know what? Somebody does. And these are the type of questions, these are the type of stuff they should be looking into. They should have been figured this part out by now. What I'm talking about, because I'm pretty sure I'm dead on. I'm pretty sure I'm dead on. And they ain't figured this out yet. But remember, they renamed all parasitic infections of all sorts to some kind of disease. So what about a parasitic infection in the brain? What would you name that? Oh, you just got a migraine. Think about it. Anyway, guys, I ain't gonna make this video much longer. I think we get on some key information, man. I think we get to the bottom of crap. I really feel like we get to the bottom, man. I feel like soaking up this good vitamin D, man, and listening to nature, being out here, absorbing this energy, this positive energy, man, this sun. I think it's good for your brain, man. I think it's good, like fresh early in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Wake up to information, downloads. Hey, y'all be safe, man. I'll catch you on the next video.
All become my pets. whisper